Right, I've started cleaning up the swing arm with a view to getting that back on. Now this is the main mounting bolt for the swing arm, which is absolutely fine. I'm going to have to put it through my galvanising process, however, but there's nothing wrong with that. That's pretty much where the good news ends. This is the swing arm itself. Now there's obviously the mounting point there, and in that mounting point goes this insert, which presumably should have a bearing on it, because can't remember when I took it apart, but what I'm thinking of, or what my thought process is, because there's two little O-rings come off it as well. I actually had a bolt through this to protect it when it was being powder coated. Now what I think's happened is, I've got some bits of it floating about somewhere like that. I think there was a plastic insert in there, and the powder, I didn't take it out, I should have done. The powder coating process has destroyed it. So I've got to get a new insert or bearing or whatever it is that goes in there. I've got to go and do some research. And then also, this is the nut and bolt that the dog bones bolt to. And as you can see, that has corroded away to fuck all. So I've got a new one of them. And the same with the head of the bolt, it's just not good enough. So I've got to find a new one of them as well. The thread is about fucked on the end also. So we need two new O-rings. I've got loads of them, that's not a problem. I can buy some genuine ones. We need a new nut and bolt for mounting it, which is a fine thread. I might be able to get something generic, otherwise I might have to go OEM. This roller bearing carrier thing, possibly reusable. I might reuse it, but if I can get hold of another one I will. So we want nut and bolt, that bearing thing there, and whatever plastic insert or whatever shit it was that went in there that I've completely ruined. I'm going to go and do some shopping. I'll tell you what, I'll just save myself a couple of bob. Right, these bushings for in here, the ones that got melted when it was powder coated, because I now know that that's exactly what happened. I've just looked them up on MSP, Kawasaki Genuine Parts, and they're £5.94 each, and I need two of them in this little plastic bush. But then I noticed that the same bush is fitted in the, I don't know what you call it, it's a rocker thing, so the dog bones attached to it. I'm sure it's got a name, but anyway, the same bush is fitted in these, in this as well as that. It's exactly the same part number. Now I just so happen to know that I had a spare one, so I've knocked those bushes out of it, and they are exactly what I need. Let me get a rubber hammer. So I've just saved myself a couple of quid by not ordering parts that I already had. However, not that in, I still got to obtain that bolt. I think for temporary I might be able to pinch one off this bike, but I'm going to go and see if I can measure it and see if I can not order the Kawasaki part, but you know, order a bolt from a nut and bolt supply company if they happen to do the same thing. Come on, get in, you bastard. There we go. So there are those bushes. And then this part here I can reuse, that's not a problem. Yeah, that goes in there, and it's a bloody tight fit, so we'll pop some grease on that. We'll clean it up a bit more first. So yeah, now all we need to worry about is finding that nut and bolt. Right, we are going to wrap it up today. I'll tell you what we've done. I've cleaned up all the nuts and bolts and everything that I can reuse. I've wire brushed them, and they're sitting here in wifey's finest solution of washing up liquid, so we'll leave them to degrease. This bolt, the one we spoke of earlier, no longer available from Kawasaki. I have found something very, very similar on eBay which I think will do the job, so I've got a couple of them ordered. So tomorrow we'll put these things here through the process of zinc plating them. We'll choose the best one of these. What do they call them? These things. They've got a name, I'm sure they have. I know the things that attach to them are dog bones, but I can't remember what these are called. But yeah, anyway, we've got two of them. We'll pick the best one. It's probably going to be this one actually. We'll get that all cleaned up, polished as best we can. What else? Yeah, that's it really. We're waiting for them bolts to come, and then we'll think about getting the old swinging arm on. The swinging arm isn't fantastic, as I've said before. It's a little pitted, but it is solid. It's the only one I got, so it's the one I'm using. This here bushing is all sorted. Yeah, that's about it. We'll leave it there. We'll catch you on the next one. Okay everyone, it's the next day actually. We're carrying on with trying to get, we're actually working on getting this back swing arm fitted, and obviously it's not just a case of bolting it in. I've had to do a lot of work. Can't remember what I filmed yesterday, but we've got this the seals and the insert and everything. It's all greased up. That's all lovely. That's all ready to go on that end. I'm working on the nuts and bolts. They're all sitting in acid there. We're going to get them chrome plated. Now there was a couple of the bolts that were beyond use. The threads were knackered, so irreplaceable part at Kawasaki. They've discontinued them. These here will do the job. We've got ordered them on eBay. They were quite expensive actually, £6 for them 2 bolts. And that thread there is a very fine thread. I think that's probably why they're expensive. So they're good to go. The nuts haven't turned up. I ordered some locking nuts to go on them. They've not turned up. They're not like the nylock nuts with a nylon insert. They're more of have I got one to show you? No, I haven't, but they've got like a metal locking insert in the end of it, so they're much better quality. I think they were £4 for 2 nuts. Yes, I could probably got them cheaper elsewhere. I could have got them cheaper buying in bulk, all of that, but they're here, they're done. Anyway, I'm working on this this linkage piece here, and I've started cleaning that up with the Dremel there with a barrel sander on the end of it. It weren't doing a bad job, although it is leaving some marks in there which I thought I could probably sand out. But then I've come to this end. I don't know how well this is going to come up on camera, but there's like a ridge there. You can just about see it, but on this side it's completely worn away. So although that's usable, I've got 2 or 3 of these. I obviously want the best one on my bike, so I've abandoned cleaning that. We've moved on to this one here, and I don't know if you can, what is it, this side? I don't know if you can see that much more defined ridge there that on the other one is worn away. So we're going to start again. We're going to start cleaning this up. I'm not going to do the Dremel. I'm going to I've started cleaning with a bit of emery cloth, but that's quite labour intensive. What I think I'm going to try with this, and I don't quite know how it will react with aluminium, but I'm going to bung it in the acid for a little while, see if that will help me take some of the hard work away and clean a lot of it up for me. Then we can try and polish. As I said, can't film absolutely every aspect of restoring this bike. One, it'll bore the shit off you because most of it's cleaning and sanding, and the other one is it'll be too long for me to film, too long for you to watch. One thing I am going to do, the rear shock up there, which I restored in a previous episode weeks and weeks ago. At the time I restored that, I hadn't sort of got all this zinc plating shit up and running, so I've just painted the parts on that. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take that apart again, and some of those parts on that rear shock I'm going to zinc plate. I think it'll be a better quality job. I'm in no rush for this. If this takes me a year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't give a fuck. This is just something I come and tinker with in my shed every day, so it's going to be a nice bike. There isn't a single part, not one single nut, bolt or washer going back on this bike until it's had some attention. Now that might be a full-on restoration, it might just be a clean, but every single part going back on this bike will have received some sort of attention. Every nut, bolt, washer, everything. This is why it's taking so long. Anyway guys, I'm going to crack on with cleaning that, and I'll drop you in here and there, let you see how we're getting on. Right, I've got some parts cooking away there in me, so I think that one's pretty much done. Just give it another 10 minutes. Then I've got these parts here ready to go in next, and then we get them parts, that's the suspension. The only reason I'm zinc plating these spacers is because they are a bit rough and pitted, so I thought if I plate them it'll just give them a little bit more life. Again, can't get them, so I could get a bit of tube I suppose and cut it and what have you, but yeah, they'll do the job. Question for you: when you're restoring a part, how far do you go? Because I did start to restore this, as you can see, and I've filed off the casting marks. I mean, that's what I mean. How far do you go? Anyway, that's not the one I'm going to use. This is what I've come up with. So it could be better. There's marks on it like that ding there, these marks here, but to take them out, you're probably removing too much material. But anyway, I've sanded off, I've filed off all the casting marks. I've sanded it, I'll give it a bit of a polish, cleaned all the shit and grease off it. That is what we're left with. Like I say, how far do you go? I mean, do we get it glistening? Bear in mind as well that that's probably ain't going to last 5 minutes because it's going to be underneath the bike picking up all the crap and shit and everything. But yeah, that's as far as I'm going with that. Maybe if it was a little more bit visible, I would take it a little further. Right, next thing, get all them parts in. I've got to figure out all the bearings and spacers and everything that goes in that. Oh dear, this is why it takes so long. Right, I've shown this before, but just in case you missed it, I shall show you again. You'll be surprised how many people have no idea that you can actually tear these shocks apart. And I've done it last time. So many people commented, oh, didn't realise you could take them apart. Absolutely you can. Now, I've got some Sealy spring compressors here. they're quite dangerous, to be honest with you, because if they let go, you know, that's a fucking missile. I don't like using them, but it's the only way I can do it. Now I've got them attached to the spring there, as you can see. I've wound them in, and because that spring is now compressed, this inner part moves within, and because it moves within, you will see in there, hang on if I can show you, can you see that nut in there? Because we've now pulled that spring apart, we can get a spanner on that nut, get something in there. Oh, fucking hell, I've done that up tight. Am I going the right way? Hang on, let's do it on the floor, because if this fucking thing lets go, that's one of my bollocks going left and one of them going north, and I don't want that. Oh, there we go. She's let go. So that can now unscrew. So I can zinc plate that. I can zinc plate that. I can zinc plate that. Whereas before I just painted them. Off with the spring. That nut off. Because I shall zinc plate that nut as well. I'll be honest with you, I'm getting fed up with zinc plating. I've started something. So that, again, all those parts there can be zinc plated. That I can give it, before I've got it in pieces, it's scratched up a bit. I'll give that another coat of black. The downside is that when you paint the spring, chances are that when you attach the spring compressors, you're going to mess your paintwork up again. So you have to sort of be as careful as you can, and then when it's back together, very carefully touch up the damage. It's the only way I know of doing it. If you guys know a better way, fill your boots. Right, I'm going to get these parts on the wire wheel cleaned up and prep them for zinc plating. Right then, we are finishing off for the day. So that's that thing I've done earlier. That's the parts for the shock absorber, which I shall zinc plate tomorrow. 2 new bolts, the nuts turned up as well, so they're locking nuts. That's all good. The parts I've zinc plated are hanging up here to dry. Looking really good. And the shock absorber there has been painted, and the spring as well, so we need those to harden off as much as possible before I can put it back together. Yeah, that's about it. Right, we'll crack on tomorrow.